Okay, now we'll look at the actual mechanics of calculating break-even. One of the first things we look at is how many units do I need to sell? Okay, so we take our fixed cost and divide that by gross profit per unit. So if we're selling chairs and we're only making a profit of $10 a chair, we might have a lot of chairs to sell before we cover our monthly rent of $1,000. That's sell 100 chairs, right? Okay, so these are the sort of things we look at. Okay, determines whether or not we're going to produce a different model of product or introduce one or get rid of one. Okay, and in the case of startups, launching new things, what's the probability of selling this many units? And is there a market for this many units? So these are the big questions we have to ask. Again, the formula for that break even for number of units is fixed cost divided by gross profit per unit. Now here's a quick example of the calculation. Our sell price is $1.50. Our variable cost per unit is 90 cents, so our gross profit per unit is 60 cents. Now we might see also see that called unit contribution. Again, cost accountants will call it that. Sometimes you'll see that in marketing, production equipment, or justification of cost equipment, whatever the case may be. Simply put, it's just the gross profit per unit. Kind of simple there, and what we're doing is just a mini top part of the income statement. Now, if we slide down a bit to gross margin of 40%, how do we get that? Well, it's $1.50 minus the 90 over all divided by $1.50. That gives us a gross margin of 40%. Okay, total fixed costs, we're told they're $11. We want to figure out the break even in units. So our total fixed costs, or our overhead, whatever you want to call it, $11 divided by 60 cents gives us 18.3 units. Now, we can't sell a piece of a unit just like we can't sell a piece of a chair, that sort of thing. So we round it up to 19. Okay, and in Excel, that's the roundup function. You type it, it's equals, round up, bracket, you have the calculation, comma, 0 for 0 decimals, and bracket. That's the calculation in Excel. Okay, the other thing we may want to calculate is our break even in dollars, and we can be selling just chairs or maybe different kinds of chairs and different desks and chairs. In which case we take our break even dollars, or to get our break even dollars, we take our fixed cost divided by the gross margin and see how much we need to sell. Often used as a goal when we're selling mixed goods, or when we got a company we're looking overall, we know our overall margins are X percent. Then we say, okay, we got to sell, say, $10,000 a month to make the break even. Now, going back to our same example, sell price per unit is $1.50, variable cost per unit 90 cents, gross profit per unit 60 cents. Okay, so far so good. We already know the gross margin is 40%. So total fixed costs, we're going to keep the same, just to keep the example same, is $11. So we take our total fixed cost divided by our gross margin. 11 divided by 40% gives us $27.50. Now be careful with the 40% there. Remember, that's $11 divided by 0.4. Okay, so it's going to be a bigger number than 11. And if we want to check backwards, the previous screen, we know there was 18.3 we had to sell to make break even. So we times 18.3 by the sell price per unit of $1.50. Then we get $27.50, which matches our break even dollars. So a little bit of what I call a sense check there. Does it make sense? Yes, we've got the right answer, just two different ways, so very good. One of the other things we look at is operating profit on units sold, which is just, okay, we sell a bunch of units, so it's sales, how much our sales dollars were, which is usually a number of units times how much we sold them for, minus our fixed or minus our total variable cost, which is all the number of units times how much each one of it costs us, minus the fixed cost. Okay. So, and I broke them out here. Basically, it's a mini income statement. If you think about it, sales minus total variable cost. So what's another word for variable cost? Cost of goods sold. Gives us our gross profit minus our fixed costs, or our overhead, gives us our EBITDA. So, interesting piece of work. So we've done a mini income statement. So using our example again, sell price of $1.50, variable cost 90 cents, gross profit 60 cents, gross margin stays the same, our fixed cost stays the same. Let's say we sold 20 units. So figure that out, it'd be $20, 20 times $1.50, okay, 20 units, $1.50, minus 20 times our 90 cents, because we bought 20 of them. If we're going to sell 20 of them, we had to buy 20 of them, minus $11, which is our overhead. So kind of works out there, kind of makes sense. Our 20 times our 90, that whole little number there is our total variable cost. Okay, total variable cost. So it works out to $1. You'd think it'll work out to be a little more when we know that 18.3 is how many we have to sell. And so let's see, we sold 20, we only made $1. Well, that's what happens when we're talking about break-even. One of the little surprises. Okay, profit and projected profit and break-even on units sold. So if we want to have a desired level of profit, it's kind of simple. If we treat the profit as kind of like fixed costs, then we get an answer. So fixed cost plus our target profit divided by our profit per unit is going to give us the profit on our units sold. So next slide will show that. Okay. Again, sell price, variable cost, gross profit per unit all stayed the same. Our desired profit of $4. Okay, so if we want to figure out how many units we have to sell to get to get $4 profit, we add our $11 to the $4. Okay, 11 plus the 4 divided by the 60 cents, the profit per unit gives us 25 units. Okay, so we got to sell 25 units to make $4. Okay, previously we wanted to look at the units we had to sell, so let's look at the dollars we have to sell. Same idea, fixed cost plus the profit divided by the margin. So this is starting to look a little bit repetitive, right? A lot like just our break-even calculation, but now we're adding in break-even plus how much profit we want to have. And on our next slide, we'll show you how. Okay, so again, using the same numbers, we slide all the way down to the formula. Dollars that we have to sell to get $4 profit. It's our overhead plus our $4 divided by 40%, our gross margin, and we get $37.50. Okay, $37.50. Now, I got the cents check there underneath, so you're pretty familiar with that now. Here's a question for you. I sell $37.50. So what happens if I sell one more of these things? So my revenue would be $37.50 plus $1.50. So we're up to $39. How much more money would I get? Okay, I'm going to sell $1.50. You're going to sell one more unit. What's my additional profit on that? Okay, if you want to answer $1.50, you would be wrong, because you're going to sell one more unit, which costs you 90 cents to get in the door, to make or to buy. So if you sell $1.50 after the $37.50, your profit's not going to be $1.50. It's going to be 60 cents. Okay, 60 cents. There's a bit of a confusion there. Some people say, well, if I hit my break even, then every dollar I sell after my break even is pure profit. And no, it's not. It depends on your margin. Okay, so very important. I see this all the time with small business owners who fail to really get a grasp on it. Say every dollar I make is great after that. It's pure profit. Only if your margin's 100%. Okay, and that doesn't happen too often. So just keep that in mind.